Hello there. Why are people unsuccessful? Let's look at the individual perspective. You're watching OJON Speaks. OJON, what must an individual do to be unsuccessful?
The first and the major thing an individual can do to be unsuccessful is to submit the outcome of his life into the hand of another person. Either you're talking about government, you're talking about your family, or you're talking about even people around you. So once you give them, you submit your future to them and the outcome of your destiny, then be rest assured that the person is going to be very, very unsuccessful. Unfortunately, we are in a generation where people do not like to take responsibility. And if you do not take responsibility, there's no how you want to be successful. Because no matter how fertile the soil may be, if the seed is bad, then you are still not going to achieve anything tangible. So individual level, we must know that the first and the major thing that anyone can do to be unsuccessful is to submit whatever the outcome of his or her life is to another person. Or you're blaming the government, or you're blaming your family members, or you're blaming your parents, or you're blaming people around you. You must take responsibility. And it begins from there. That's one major reason why people are unsuccessful, because they do not want to take responsibility. Another thing is we are in a cultural generation. We are born in the 21st century, but what dictates the pace of our life is the 20th century mentality of our parents, because we are very cultural people. Unfortunately, you cannot totally heal a 21st century ailment with a 19th century medication. The best you will get is a 20th century healing. And that's exactly what is playing out.
Okay, can you say that again?
You cannot heal a 21st century ailment with a 19th century medication. The best you can get will be a 20th century healing. And that's exactly because we are cultural people. People are tied to their culture. And if you do not break your culture, you cannot break record. While I was growing up, I remember that the standard they set in our families that once you leave school, you are going to go into the civil service. I love it. The civil service is one of the best places to work because it's actually good. It's civil and well patterned. You can know that within a short period of time that you're actually going to get promoted. Fantastic system. But again, my uncle was talking to me one day and he said, oh, you need to finish your education quickly so that you can get into the civil service, so that after 30 years, you get your gratuity and you begin to enjoy life. That hit me like a bullet. I was thinking to myself, do I need to wait for 30 years before I start enjoying my life? So I knew that I was not ready to fall into the civil service culture of my family. But it cost me a lot, because I actually started out in a state-owned radio and television house. I had the prospect of growing, but I had to lock that door of possibility to open another door of impossibility, because everything seemed impossible. But because I don't want to be caged by the culture of my people, what has happened to many people is that we've been caged by our culture. What is the culture we're talking about? We can begin from the culture of education, because they told you that once you get into school and you graduate, that your life is going to take shape. But you and I can testify to the fact today that it's not so.
It's not really the case.
It is not the case. This is the culture that we are now. Every morning they tell you to go to school, because they tell you that once you get into school and come out, that you are going to be successful. But that is not the truth. Success is beyond schooling. People go to school and they return more illiterate than they went in there, because they cannot totally translate what they learned in school to what they're supposed to do in real life. There's a disconnect between the reality of life and the subjects that are being taught in school. And I wrote a letter addressed to the teacher of my child that we're going to have an issue if you ever beat my unborn child because he fails mathematics. There's going to be an issue. But punish him if he fails in the aspect of morality. Punish him if he fails in the aspect of character. Punish him if he fails in the aspect of religious intolerance. But this is the culture of the people. They make you believe that once you go into the school, You pass mathematics and English language and some kind of physics and chemistry, that your life is going to take shape. But in reality, it's playing out in our very eyes that it's beyond that. Africa, in the real sense of it, is a very cultural society. That is why we fall back to our culture. And when I'm talking about culture, I am not talking totally of tradition. I am talking about the simplest way of life that an individual engages in, from your parent to the parent before them. And this is what is affecting us. Every one of us, we are unique in our gifting. God has deposited his own part in us. The part of God in me is different from the part of God in you. The part of God in you is your purpose. Every one of us has this part of God, and they call it guardian spirit. That is where the word genius emanated from. The word genius emanated from the word guardian spirit. And guardian spirit is the part of God in every one of us. We do have it. Whether it will manifest is another thing entirely.
Everyone has got some genius in them.
See, everyone. You think you do not have it because you have neglected your area of strength, and you keep pursuing one assignment that you know is unnecessary. Because at the end of the day, you think what matters to you is the money you can make. And money is not your mission. Money is not your mission. If you get this purpose right, every other thing will fall in place. Do you want to hear? The tragedy that people will face is that the asset that the people are looking for, it will get to a point that when they discover their assignment, they will be forced to sell all the asset to pursue the assignment. And that is what they have not come to realize. So at the end of the day, the money you are looking for, when you get it, you're still going to use the money and to spend it on the mission. So from the beginning, we must all understand that money is not the mission. When we get the assignment right, the asset will come. But we are in a generation that is driven by asset rather than the assignment. Unfortunately, these assets that we talk about are not readily in our hands. So people go the extra mile on a negative route to get this asset. You talk about Yahoo today, you talk about the level of prostitution. It's as a result of the fact that people are running after the asset that they do not have. Meanwhile, we have the assignment. The assignment is our purpose. And until we get the purpose right, we are not going to get the wealth. So people are really unsuccessful because they are following a wrong direction to get asset at the expense of the assignment.
Get the assignment right, the asset will come.
Once you get the assignment right, it's like property and purpose, asset and assignment. When you get the purpose right, the property will follow.
When you get the assignment
right, the asset will follow. But what we have in this generation is that people keep running after the property that they may not necessarily need at that point in time, and they leave the purpose that they are supposed to run after, that is going to, at the end of the day, get them the property. It's quite unfortunate.
Now, let's look at the individual. How does an individual understand what to run after? How does an individual understand their assignment? How do I know what my assignment is? How do I know what to run after?
Now, I talked about the principle of the guardian spirit. The first thing an individual should do is to recognize the part of God in him. Every one of us. But unfortunately, because of the follow mindset, that is why you enter a street in an estate and you discover that 30 people are selling the same product. And you're wondering why. It's because somebody wants to follow the other person.
What about the other product?
What about the other product you are asking? But because in their head they think that this person is making money. Everybody is complaining and thinking that money is the way forward. And that is why an individual will continue to fail. So you must identify this unique gift of God that is embedded in every man. It is when you identify this path of God in you, then you write the mission. The mission is like an agreement book that comprises the component of your gift. You put them together and it spells out the bus stop of your life. At this point in time, this is what I'm going to do. Then the last thing is perhaps you have to sharpen your vision. Vision is the ability to see the end from the very beginning with certainty and hope. You are sure that this thing you are doing you have discovered, you have written the body of your talent and assignment together, and you can see from the very beginning that this thing is going to end well. Once you have this free, you can be sure that you are going to move from the realm of failure to the realm of success.
Get the assignments right, and the asset will fall in place. Thanks for watching Don or John Speaks. We'll see you next time.